Hey guys, it's Rudy here at East Coast Sun. Not wearing East Coast Sun badging today because it's Saturday and I shouldn't be working, but here I am. I should be outside stacking firewood or something. The Greener Homes loan is ending on the last day to submit an application is October 1st, 2025. So I just thought I'd make this lengthy, because it will be lengthy because I like to talk, video about what my thoughts are, if there's something coming to replace it. Can you get in on it before October 1st? And just some thoughts, podcast style, of what may be coming. So I'm on the Greener Homes loan application site. I've used the Greener Homes loan before, but I just said that I didn't, so I could go in here and see what it looked like for you guys. The last day to submit an application is October 1st, 2025. Guess what? There's like 1 week left, which is the worst time for them to close it because I'm going moose hunting next week and I really want to help you guys. So I'm working this weekend to try to get some content out there and hopefully some instruction for any of you who are trying to get in on this, and get an application in before you before it closes. So some of you may not know the process. Some of you may have just met me today. And the Greener Homes loan is, or was, a $40,000 interest-free loan that you can use from the federal government for what I do: solar, insulation, heat pumps, heat pump water heaters, windows, doors, any improvements to your home that will allow you to save money. So essentially you save money and use the money that you save to pay for the loan that you took out over 10 years, interest-free. A lot of the times it pays for all or most of it, of the loan, so you really don't feel it in your bank account. It's a great program. It keeps a ton of people working. It keeps the economy rolling. The government gets 15% on whatever you spend back, and they get their money back, providing that you pay them back, because you're supposed to if you borrow money. So great program. It's kind of the holy grail what we're doing. Was it Thursday? Thursday, I think it was the announcement, and everybody's freaking out. Oh, I never got my loan in. I'm sorry for waiting so long. And I didn't know it was ending. I heard rumors about it, but I didn't want to give you guys untruthful information. So here it is on their website, red text. So in order to, the loan is still available. They're stopping applications on the 1st of October. In order to apply for the loan, you have to have, we call it the energy audit. The EnerGuide evaluation requirement is what they call it. So there's the way that New Brunswick does it is you go to the MB Power website and you sign up for the Total Home Energy Savings Program, which enables you to use grants from the provincial government that require the audit as well. And you have to have the audit done in order to borrow the money. They want to come to your house and make sure there's no solar panels on it already. Make sure that you need these things before they allow you to borrow money on it. Makes sense. It's protecting our tax dollars. It's a great idea. And it gives you a nice picture of your home, and they will, on a report form, and it will give you that information. Sometimes solar, for instance, if there's guys out there selling solar, sometimes it's not the best thing to do at your house, especially if you have single pane windows or you're heating it with straight electric or something. You should change your windows and do a heat pump first. So there's guys out there, excuse me, who only do solar, and they will, obviously they just want to sell that stuff. But there's better things to do. The audit gives you that report, and it shows you, hey, maybe you should do this, this, and this first. So I like the audit. I think it's great. It gives people a third-party, unbiased view of their envelope and energy requirements and what they are and what they could be if you do this, this, and this. Okay, I'm getting too technical. So in order to get that, you have to have the audit done. So you go to the Total Home Energy Savings Program website through MB Power. You can sign up to have the audit done. So what happens is that summons the auditor. There's 5 or 6 auditors out there. There's ThermalWise, Enercheck, HomeSol, RU Green. I don't know what the other one is. I forget. I've worked with all these companies. And what happens is MB Power, and I think it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they take their bucket and they send it out to all these private auditors. Then the auditors get your name, and then they call you and say, hey, we want to book an appointment. Well, before the announcement of the end of the loan happened, they were running about 2 weeks just to get an appointment to your house, and that was like the guys who weren't as busy or more on the ball. The best case scenario was 2 weeks before you get an audit. Well, 2 weeks from now puts us into October. So we're screwed, right? Stand by. There's more. There's hope. So after they come and do the audit, they typically go back, they take all the information that they've gathered, much like what I do on a site visit, and they compile the report, and they send you the report, and on the top of the report there's a file number, and you need that file number to create a login for the Greener Homes loan. So there's an order of operations that has to happen, and when the government's involved, it's usually a little bit slower. You can't just sign up to something. So you have to have that done before October 1st. So most of the people who don't have an audit are possibly hooped to get this loan. So at first I'm going to talk about how to get the audit possibly before the closing date of the loan. But then I'm going to talk about what I think might happen in the new budget and why I think this. And it's just this is my own opinion. I don't know anything. So if there's any of my customers watching this right now, I've gone to your host, we've done a site visit, I've sent you a proposal, you like what you saw, first thing I do, you're interested in, you want to move forward, the first step that I tell them is, hey, get the energy audit. So when they go to get the energy audit, I tell them to go to that website. You have to do that. I can't do that for you. And they choose an auditor. I work closely with a couple of them, and Are You Green is the one I've been recommending for the last few months. If there's a customer of mine out there, or a potential customer, or if you've signed an installation contract with East Coast Sun, let me know, and I will try to get that your energy audit done before the end of the month, which will be this week. I just need your name, and if you can send it to me, I will put that in an email and send it, and try to get these customers their audit beforehand. So we've got a little bit of priority because I have a little bit of pull because we do a little bit of volume. So I'm hoping that I can help my own customers out that way. If you apply for the loan, that doesn't mean you have to do solar, because I just want people. I want you to be able to have this option if there's not a better option coming. So that leads me into the next thing. What, if anything, is going to replace the Greener Homes loan, and why do I think that something's even going to replace it? So I had to do a little bit of research because I was just going off of my memory. When the best time to buy solar was probably 2 years ago, when we had the Greener Homes grant, which gave you up to $5,000 federally. The Greener Homes loan, which allowed you to borrow $40,000 interest free for 10 years, and the up to $3,000 that we have provincially. So at this present moment, we have the loan and the provincial grant of up to $3,000. The Greener Homes grant, which was $5,000, it was $1,000 per kilowatt up to 5 kilowatts. Most homes are 10 to 15 kilowatts on their system, so everyone was getting this 5K. That went away, and at the time I was like, don't buy solar right now, I think something else is coming out. So I didn't really want to see people get caught in between programs where they could have taken advantage of it. So it never came back. There's no federal grant for solar, hasn't been since a year from February, so almost 2 years ago. Does it still make sense? Absolutely. The thing that makes it make the most sense is the $40,000 interest-free loan, because myself and most of the people watching don't have $40,000 sitting there up to. Most solar systems I'm doing are between $26,000 and $35,000. However, still don't have that money kicking around. So that was the advantage of the loan. So they're going to stop taking applications. That doesn't guarantee. So it says submitting an application does not guarantee approval or funding. So we can try. If you get your foot in the door for this, you don't have to pull the trigger on solar. You don't have to, even if you sign an installation contract with me or one of my partners, you're still not bound to anything. We don't bind people. Sometimes life changes, you're not bound to doing anything. Just get your foot in the door. If you're really thinking about it, and I have a bunch of customers who are watching this who are trying to get their foot in the door, It's part of the reason I've had this video. So this is going to go away. What one thing to mention, there was a top up to the Greener Homes loan, and that was done in December 2024, the fall economic statement. So there was talk about the loan disappearing last year. The federal government gave it another $600 million in funding. That was last December, so almost a year ago. And the rumor was that they were topping it up in order to extend it to get us to the budget. So we have a new Prime Minister, who came in, and Carney, and there's a new budget that is supposed to be released November 4th. Is there going to be something in there to replace the Greener Homes loan? Hopefully. And there were problems with the Greener Homes loan, and anyone who's gone through this process knows that in order to access the $40,000, you have to provide a paid invoice for the work that you did, which means you had to have paid for it. So when I first started, it was people were borrowing from their line of credit. They were borrowing from their parents or whoever to try to get this done. So it made it so people who could really benefit from these changes couldn't afford it because they have to have the money to start. So we would provide bridge financing, and my partners would do bridge financing in order to get them to this, in order to get the job completed so they can get the interest-free money. You have to borrow money to get money. That was your government at work with that program. So it has been identified. They topped it up to get us to the next budget. Why would you top it up to get to the next budget if there wasn't something else coming? So I'm hopeful that something else is coming. We may have to wait till November to get it. If it doesn't come, and that would suck. So this is part of the reason a lot of people are trying to get their foot in the door, because they'll have the option, right? If there's something better, they can probably enroll in that. So provincially here in New Brunswick, and I've kind of been branching out into Nova Scotia and PEI too. I'm getting a lot of requests for stuff. I'm able to do that work, but I'm not as tuned into what the programs are. I know they just lost their provincial grants in Nova Scotia and I believe PEI. Where was I going with that? Yeah, provincially, I don't know if we have something coming. Susan Holt would know, but it would be a secret until it comes released. So typically the Liberals like to spend money on things that are green related. There's subsidies for EVs and whatnot. And I won't get into whether subsidies are a good or bad idea. I think this is a good idea because I live it and it makes sense. I do think the free market could figure things out themselves, but sometimes people need a little help with so we incentivize it. So there was something else I wanted to say about that. Last year, there was something that came out in Trudeau's budget called the Enhanced Affordability Housing Fund. And I've got that on screen too here. And that was kind of to replace it was a proposed thing to replace the grant. Is it there now? No, it's not. So I have an inkling that we're going to see something like that come in the new budget. So I hope this makes sense to you guys. It's unfortunate that the loan's ending. I don't know if something else is coming. If you want to get in on the loan and you need that audit done really quick, send me an email or a Facebook message. It's probably the easiest on here. I'll try to stay on top of it. Like I said, I am going to be going away next week. I am taking a Starlink though. Anyway, hopefully I can stay tuned up. But I do have helpers that are able to guide as well. So and partners with Are You Green and Greenfoot and some other ones. So they're willing to help us out and whatever makes sense for the customers. And I always try to pretend that I'm the customer and what would I do in this situation. If I was considering solar and I wanted, or anything, or any home improvement option that saves you money that falls under the loan, I would try to get my foot in the door. I don't know if I would pull the trigger on anything until I knew what was coming out in that budget, or if I knew that it was going to be grandfathered for that 1 month, because we're going to be running from October 1st until the budget comes out November 4th to see if something happens there. So Anyway, I thought I'd just make this video and maybe a little hope for some people. And I should say, if you're interested in solar, whether it be off-grid, hybrid, or grid-tied, 90% of the projects we're doing are grid-tied and are leveraging these incentives. Or if you're just interested in solar and you want to see what it looks like on your house, I design the systems using a program called Open Solar, and I find your home because I collect that information from you, and I'll put a link below. I collect that information from you. I find your home on Google Earth, and I try to figure out the roof pitch. I get really private investigator style forensics to try to figure out what your roof pitch is and how many panels I think I can get on there, and the azimuth of your home. And I just do the best job that I can do to figure out what solar would look like for you without coming to your house. So it's easy for me to do a proposal. And all I'm doing is I'm trying to get a document in your hand that allows you to see how much money you can save a month and how much you have to spend a month to save that money, and giving you a good idea of how long it's going to last, warranty periods, and the cost, of course. So I have cost schemes that assume there are no surprises, like fuse panels, dated electrical, or stuff like that. So I build the proposal, and I send it to you, and it has some information in it. If you don't ever respond to that again, you probably won't hear from me again, because I've got so many to do that I don't follow up. I'm not all call center-y like on that. So it's the goal of that is to allow people to see, what the costs of things are. If there's a sticker shock, if there's a surprise, like, oh, I didn't realize that I could have that paid for that quick, or this is what my power bill would look like. So what I do is I design these systems and then send them to you. If you're interested, I always go and do a site visit. So no matter where you're at, I do a site visit because I want to shake your hand. I've had customers go, hey, I want to go for it right now. Hook me up. And I won't do that. I want to go to the house. I want to visit the customer. I want to meet the customer. I want to sit with them. I want them to grill me with every question they can about solar, because I want their expectations to be met, because they're going to find out if something was supposed to happen and didn't, or whatnot. I just like to be very transparent. I've built a good business on being transparent and meeting people, which is great. So I go to your house, I measure your roof, I look at the condition of your roof, I stick my head up in your attic and I look at the trusses, because we get a structural engineering report on every job. I look at your electrical panel, and I even ask you questions like, are you getting an EV, electric car? Are you getting a hot tub? Are you kicking kids out of your house? How do you heat your water? Are you going to do any changes? Are you going to do any renovations? I ask you all this stuff. I get very investigative, because I want to know what your power bills are going to do in the future, because I don't want to put more. I'm always trying to sell less solar, because if I sell you more solar and if you make more power than you use, you're not going to get a credit for it with MB Power. At the end of March, she just goes away. So that's what I do. And then if I look at the place, I take lots of pictures, and if you're ready to move forward, we kind of talk about that, and then make a plan to get the installation done. So there's a bunch of permits, net metering, the electrical permit, if we have to have MB Power come, structural engineer report on the roof for every job. And anyway, we checked that all out. I usually end up changing the design a little bit. The costs usually don't change, but the panel sizes change because of the roof. I can't measure it that good from Google Earth, but my tape measure doesn't usually lie. Sometimes it does. That's user error. Anyways, so I figure that out, and then I send you another proposal, and if you end up going forward with it, we set an installation date and try to figure out when we're going to get things done for you. And so I partner with different people who I've consulted with. A lot of you guys know this. I was on roofs this week slinging panels, but I can't be there all the time. I'm very good at running out of daylight. This week I had a 4 a.m. morning, I stayed up till 4 a.m. getting back from a job, and then I was on another job at 8. It's great to have the partners in the business, and they're the best. So anyways, long video, like I promised. So share it around if you like. I should have put a East Coast Sun logo on because it would have been nice. But anyway, I'm a real human being, live in Tracy, New Brunswick. And I'm going to work on some solar proposals today and getting back to a bunch of customers because I have been running ragged for the last 3 or 4 days, and then I'm planning on going hunting this week. So anyways, thanks for watching and take care, and I hope to have some more news. I'll put it on here when I get it. So